The galaxy had always mocked humans. To alien empires, Earth was a harmless blue dot, a primitive planet with weak defenses, predictable habits, and no military significance. Stories of humanity's early survival against natural catastrophes had been dismissed as exaggeration, folklore, or simple luck. 11 powerful species, confident in their superiority, formed a coalition to conquer the planet, eager to claim its resources and put the soft humans in their place. Their fleets darkened the skies, warships bristling with energy weapons, missiles, and plasma cannons, all designed to obliterate what they assumed was resistance. Humans, as usual, went about their ordinary lives, blissfully unaware of the approaching threat. Cities hummed with activity, commuters moved through traffic, and children played in parks, oblivious to the alien fleets aligning above their atmosphere. To the invaders, this calm was proof of weakness, proof that Earth's population would surrender the moment they saw the first lasers. The coalition laughed at their confidence, congratulating themselves for what they considered an inevitable victory. But beneath the surface, hidden in mountains, oceans, and secret facilities, humanity had prepared. Ancient networks, long dormant, hummed to life. Power grids rerouted energy to cloaked installations. Civilian drones and vehicles transformed into defense units. Improvised weaponry adapted instantly to alien frequencies. Humans didn't panic. They followed protocols refined over decades, practiced silently while the galaxy laughed. A junior alien officer noticed anomalies first: subtle electromagnetic pulses, strange energy fluctuations, and civilian vehicles moving with unnatural coordination. He reported them, but senior commanders dismissed the readings, attributing them to sensor noise or coincidence. Confidence remained unshaken. The coalition fleet continued its advance, expecting Earth's surrender. The humans were soft, harmless, predictable. The first wave of attacks was authorized. Alien warships fired energy beams and missiles at populated areas. Observers expected screams, panic, and a desperate response from the planet. But the attacks vanished before reaching their targets. Missiles disintegrated mid-eye, energy beams bent as if reality itself refused to cooperate. Confusion rippled through the fleet. Engineers recalibrated sensors and weapons, insisting they must be malfunctioning. Admirals scowled and shouted orders to fire again, confident in their superiority. Meanwhile, humans executed the first stage of their defense. Civilians moved to underground shelters. Automated systems redirected energy, disabled sensors, and activated decoys. Ordinary buildings became fortified strongpoints. Everyday vehicles transformed into mobile defense units. Nothing about this response screamed military precision, yet every action was deliberate, adaptive, and unpredictable. Every alien assumption about Earth's weakness was challenged, though the coalition remained unaware of the scale of the threat before them. The junior officer watching the sensors felt unease creep in. Readings defied every calculation he had learned at the academy. Fleet movements slowed instinctively, as if something beyond understanding influenced the battlefield. He tried to warn his superiors. "Sir, they are not reacting as expected. This isn't fair. This is strategy." His words were met with laughter and dismissal. Humans were soft. They couldn't organize beyond basic survival instincts. That belief would soon shatter. As the alien fleet pressed closer, Earth's true preparedness revealed itself in increments. A civilian satellite flickered briefly, then emitted a burst of energy that interfered with the coalition's targeting systems. Missiles aimed at cities evaporated. Reconnaissance drones were redirected mid-flight to confuse alien scanners. The planet's surface seemed ordinary, yet every action was coordinated in ways the invaders could not predict. The coalition began to experience hesitation among its ranks, small at first, then growing into genuine doubt. Humanity's calm was deceptive. There was no panic, no frantic transmission of messages, no scramble for weapons. They had waited, silently, while the galaxy underestimated them. The junior officer could not ignore it any longer. "Sir, they are ready. They've been ready for centuries." The senior commanders laughed at the statement, refusing to take it seriously. The fleet continued its advance, confident that the first salvo would crush any hope of resistance. Then came the first unmistakable signal, a low, constant hum spreading from Earth's hidden facilities. It wasn't loud, but it resonated through sensors, warships, and communication channels alike. The pulse was unnatural, precise, and terrifying in its subtlety. Fleet engineers scrambled to understand it, but every reading contradicted their expectations. The hum grew steadily, synchronized with energy patterns that no alien physics database could explain. The Coalition fleet fired again, this time in unison. Missiles, lasers, and plasma weapons aimed at Earth's surface, all intended to demonstrate supremacy and force compliance. Every projectile vanished mid-air. Every energy beam warped and dissipated. The Admiral barked commands, furious at the failure, insisting that the humans could not possibly be this coordinated. But every test, every strike, revealed the flaw in their assumptions. Humans had been underestimated, and now that miscalculation was about to cost the Coalition everything. Beneath the surface, humanity waited for the moment of revelation. Hidden installations powered up larger networks, automated defenses synchronized, and adaptive systems analyzed every alien movement in real time. What the galaxy thought was a primitive planet was a nest of unpredictable, inventive, and highly coordinated defense mechanisms. The humans' patience had allowed centuries of preparation to culminate in a single decisive moment. The first shockwave of awareness hit the Coalition. Junior officers whispered warnings. Sensors displayed anomalies beyond comprehension. Systems failed despite flawless calibration. The junior officer who had tried to warn his superiors realized the truth. Humans were not weak, not simple, not harmless. They had been silent, patient, and cunning. And now, the galaxy would learn the cost of underestimating them. The fleet slowed instinctively. A single, unspoken question spread among every captain and admiral alike: had we misjudged them entirely? The answer was unfolding before them, silently, as humanity's true capability began to manifest in ways the Coalition could neither predict nor counter. The blue dot they had mocked for centuries was no longer just Earth. It was the beginning of the most disciplined, unpredictable, and ingenious defense the galaxy had ever witnessed. The Coalition's confidence began to waver as anomalies multiplied. Missiles vanished before impact. Lasers bent unpredictably. Recon drones returned with scrambled footage, showing cities functioning normally while energy signatures spiked in impossible ways. Alien officers panicked quietly, recalibrating instruments that defied physics. The junior officer who had warned his superiors earlier felt vindicated, yet no one would admit the mistake aloud. Earth was not just resisting, it was actively manipulating the battlefield in ways beyond calculation. Civilians moved with calm precision, assisting in improvised defenses. Vehicles shifted into formations that created electromagnetic interference grids. Rooftop antennas redirected energy pulses to disable alien targeting systems. Every human action was adaptive, intelligent, and startlingly effective. The Coalition fleet systems overloaded, weapons jammed, and engines faltered under the pressure of tactics no alien had anticipated. What they assumed was chaos was organized brilliance, executed without hesitation. Admirals shouted orders to fire again. Beams, missiles, and plasma charges were released in unison, intended to intimidate the planet into surrender. Every strike failed. Energy dissipated into the sky, missiles malfunctioned mid-flight, and communication networks became garbled. Panic crept through the ranks. Officers began questioning if Earth was somehow controlling their senses. Subordinates whispered warnings that went unheeded until the fleet's failure was undeniable. The humans escalated gradually. Hacking attempts from civilians disrupted navigation, causing small collisions and confusion within the alien formation. Automated vehicles, originally civilian in purpose, intercepted reconnaissance drones and converted them into temporary surveillance nodes. Energy pulses redirected incoming projectiles, reflecting them harmlessly into empty space. Aliens attempted countermeasures, but the unpredictability of human improvisation rendered each tactic ineffective. The junior officer watched in awe and fear. He had never seen coordination like this. Civilian tech, ordinary vehicles, and minimal weaponry combined into a defense that outmaneuvered centuries of alien doctrine. He reported to his admiral, urgency in his voice, yet the command structure was slow to comprehend the scope of human capability. Earth's response was not the panic of a weak species, it was strategy-led, intelligent, and adaptive. Every system the coalition relied upon faltered. Communication relays went offline without explanation, engines throttled to maintain stability, and weapon targeting failed despite flawless calibration. Humans used the planet itself as part of their defense. Cities acted as networks, rivers as barriers, terrain as traps. The aliens could not predict movement patterns, could not anticipate responses, and could not recalibrate fast enough to match human improvisation. As minutes passed, fear spread through the coalition. Officers who had mocked Earth hours ago now whispered of a species beyond reckoning. The admiral's confidence faltered. He ordered retreats, only to find navigation disrupted. Ships collided or drifted out of formation. Alien morale began to crumble. Fleet commanders shouted frantic orders, but their words carried no authority against a force that defied comprehension. Humans, meanwhile, remained calm. No centralized command was visible. Ordinary citizens acted decisively, guided by instinct and a shared understanding. Makeshift energy grids rerouted power to counter alien pulses. Civilian drones intercepted projectiles. Traffic systems adapted instantly, creating unpredictable patterns that further destabilized fleet movements. Every human action compounded the chaos of the alien invasion, yet to the humans themselves, it seemed ordinary, efficient, and purposeful. The coalition officers could not believe their eyes. Their most advanced warships were neutralized not by brute force, but by ingenuity and adaptability. The planet itself seemed alive with intent, guiding humans and disrupting aliens. Panic became visible among captains, fear spreading faster than orders could travel. Junior officers now openly questioned their superiors, and whispers of retreat grew louder. Even the admiral realized that their previous assumptions about human weakness had been catastrophic errors. Alien engineers attempted desperate recalibration, trying to override malfunctioning sensors. Weapons officers tried to fire again, only to find that every system was blocked by an invisible interference pattern. Every tactic failed. Every attempt at intimidation or destruction was nullified. Humans had not just anticipated the invasion, they had absorbed it, redirected it, and exploited it with a creativity the galaxy had never seen. The coalition fleet's structure began to fracture. Some ships attempted escape, only to be trapped by energy barriers that humans had deployed. Others collided in confusion, creating small chain reactions that amplified disorder. Chaos became systemic, yet the humans themselves were unaffected. They remained calm, adaptive, and highly coordinated. The galaxy's most powerful empires were helpless against a species they had considered primitive. Finally, the realization spread like wildfire: they had misjudged humans entirely. This was not a weak planet. This was not a defenseless population. These were apex strategists, improvisers, and problem solvers beyond the comprehension of most species. The junior officer repeated his warning, "Sir, it's Earth. They are not weak. They are ready. We underestimated them." The admiral could only stare at the screens, instruments failing, as humans continued to adapt with effortless precision. By the end of the engagement, the coalition had been stalled entirely. No decisive strike had landed. No city had fallen. Aliens were forced to withdraw, their fleet scattered, morale shattered. Earth had not only survived the first wave, it had demonstrated that ingenuity, adaptability, and improvisation could neutralize fleets far beyond its technological appearance. Humanity had revealed its true potential, not through weapons superiority, but through creativity, intelligence, and relentless calm in the face of overwhelming odds. The galaxy had begun to whisper a new truth: humans were not to be underestimated. The species the empires had laughed at, dismissed, and mocked was no longer trivial. Earth had proven that even ordinary tools, combined with unpredictable human ingenuity, could turn the tide of an invasion. The coalition fleet retreated, humiliated, while humanity remained calm, adaptive, and, for the first time in galactic history, acknowledged as a force to be reckoned with. The humans did not just defend, they took control. As the coalition fleet faltered, Earth's improvised defenses evolved in real time, turning ordinary technology into a seamless battlefield orchestra. Drones, civilian vehicles, and satellite arrays synchronized, creating interference fields that disabled alien propulsion and targeting. Alien admirals realized too late that the planet itself had become a weapon, each human action amplifying chaos among their ranks. What they had thought would be a swift conquest was unraveling in ways they could not predict or counter. Missiles fired from coalition warships dissolved mid-flight. Energy beams refracted unpredictably, bouncing harmlessly into empty space. Alien sensors went haywire, reporting anomalies that contradicted every law of physics in their manuals. Fleet commanders shouted orders, but no one could regain control. Each attempt to strike the humans only strengthened the planet's adaptive response. Every move humans made was calculated yet improvisational, intuitive yet coordinated. Civilians acted as strategic nodes, engineers as field tacticians, and ordinary technology became instruments of unparalleled defense. The junior officer who had first warned his superiors now watched in stunned silence. He had seen strategy, tactics, and preparation before, but nothing like this. Humans reacted not according to protocol, but according to instinct, innovation, and relentless observation. Civilian drones intercepted enemy communications, scrambled targeting systems, and repurposed alien technology against its users. Roads became traps, buildings became energy hubs, rivers became natural barriers. Nothing was wasted, nothing was random. The aliens could not anticipate, could not calculate, and could not escape the unpredictability. The coalition's admirals panicked openly for the first time. Their warships began colliding, small skirmishes within their own ranks as their navigation failed. Officers tried to retreat, but their engines were disrupted by subtle energy pulses generated by the planet's defensive grid. Missiles and lasers aimed at humans were redirected, neutralized, or detonated harmlessly in open space. Entire divisions were incapacitated by techniques that relied not on brute force, but on clever exploitation of human ingenuity and rapid adaptation. Humans acted without centralized command. Ordinary citizens improvised. Engineers rerouted power supplies to disable weapons, while vehicles formed grids to confuse enemy targeting. Drones projected holographic decoys and transmitted jamming signals that disabled navigation. Energy pulses redirected missiles away from populated areas while leaving alien vessels immobilized. Every civilian, every invention, every improvisation amplified the effectiveness of the defense. Aliens were left powerless, their fleets trapped in a web they could not understand. Panic swept through the coalition fleet. Admirals barked frantic orders, but their words carried no authority. Weapons systems failed again and again. Some ships attempted to retreat, only to collide with one another under the influence of subtle electromagnetic interference. Engineers tried to regain control of targeting arrays, only to discover that every recalibration had been anticipated and countered. The aliens had faced skilled species before, but never one that turned ordinary life into an orchestrated, unstoppable defense. The humans escalated further. Coastal cities generated energy shields from repurposed power grids. Drones lured enemy ships into traps, redirecting energy back to disable their engines. Civilians on land improvised weapons that disrupted sensors and guidance systems. Every move was unpredictable yet perfectly effective, adaptive yet strategic. The coalition fleet could not recover, and morale collapsed entirely. Ships began fleeing in disorder, some colliding mid-escape, others surrendering to the unyielding ingenuity of a species they had assumed was weak. Even as the aliens tried to regroup, humans anticipated the next steps. Energy pulses synchronized across continents, disabling weapons, jamming communications, and neutralizing threats without a single human soldier needing to engage directly. Every action reflected centuries of preparation, but executed in the fluid, adaptive style of a species that thrived on creativity and unpredictability. Civilians became tactical operators, infrastructure became battlefield assets. What the galaxy had thought of as a soft, unarmed planet revealed itself as a living strategic entity. The junior officer whispered to his superior, voice trembling, "Sir, they are not just defending. They are controlling us." The admiral, pale and shaken, could only nod. Fleet formations were scattered, engines failing, targeting impossible. Every calculation the aliens had relied upon was obsolete. Humanity's improvisation, patience, and intelligence had transformed the battlefield into an environment where alien superiority was irrelevant. By the time the first signs of retreat appeared, the coalition fleet was in disarray. Alien ships limped back toward open space, systems failing, morale shattered. Humans had not destroyed them, but had rendered them powerless. Civilians resumed their ordinary activities, engineers returned to monitoring, and drones quietly returned to maintenance mode. To humans, the battle had been an improvisation of instinct and strategy. To the aliens, it was a nightmare they would never forget. The galaxy had witnessed a species that turned simplicity into power. A species that had been underestimated, dismissed, and mocked had revealed an intelligence and adaptability that surpassed anything the coalition had anticipated. The humans had not needed formal armies or massive weapons to defeat a superior force. They had relied on ingenuity, improvisation, and coordinated action that defied every conventional expectation. Every empire observing would reconsider the cost of underestimating Earth. As the alien fleets withdrew, rumors began spreading across star systems. Whispers of the humans' resourcefulness, unpredictability, and strategic brilliance would travel faster than any signal. Other civilizations would question their assumptions. Admirals would rewrite doctrines. Scholars would recalculate history. Humanity had proven itself to be the accidental apex predator, a species whose power was not immediately visible, but undeniable once revealed. Even after the coalition fled, humans remained calm. The planet resumed its ordinary rhythm, unaware of the legend it had created in the galaxy. Ordinary citizens had been heroes in small ways that, cumulatively, decided the outcome of an interstellar invasion. The galaxy now understood that Earth's greatest weapon was its people, and the most dangerous quality of humanity was its ability to adapt, improvise, and thrive in the face of overwhelming odds. By the end, the coalition fleet had learned an unforgettable lesson. Humans were not weak, soft, or predictable. They were intelligent, resourceful, and capable of orchestrating chaos into victory. The planet the galaxy had mocked for centuries had revealed a truth that could not be ignored. Humanity's ingenuity, patience, and adaptability had turned a desperate defense into a total reversal, leaving aliens in awe, fear, and retreat. The alien fleets retreated in disarray, engines failing, systems disrupted, and morale shattered. Humanity had not needed to annihilate them, yet the message was unmistakable: Earth was not a soft, defenseless planet. The coalition had underestimated humans, and the cost of that misjudgment became clear in every fractured formation, every disabled ship, and every panicked officer trying to comprehend what had just occurred. The galaxy had witnessed a species that wielded intelligence, improvisation, and adaptability as weapons more effective than any missile or plasma cannon. Earth's civilians returned to their routines, oblivious to the scale of the victory. Drones resumed maintenance tasks. Engineers powered down temporary defense networks. Roads and cities, once transformed into strategic assets, returned to their normal rhythm. Humans had acted decisively, creatively, and with calm precision. What seemed like ordinary life had masked centuries of preparation, innovation, and latent capability. To the galaxy, this ordinary species was now extraordinary. Admirals of the fleeing fleets transmitted warnings across star systems. Never underestimate humans, they whispered, each report tinged with fear and disbelief. Empires that had once dismissed Earth as trivial began recalculating their doctrines, rewriting histories, and reconsidering strategies. Humanity had revealed that brute force was unnecessary when ingenuity, unpredictability, and rapid adaptation could achieve dominance effortlessly. The planet itself seemed unchanged. Oceans lapped against shores, cities thrived with normal activity, and humans walked streets with the same oblivious confidence they had possessed before the invasion. Yet, the galaxy had learned an immutable truth: humanity's power was not measured by sheer numbers or weapons, but by the intelligence, resilience, and creativity of its people. A single planet, underestimated for centuries, had silenced empires without firing a single conventional strike. Energy grids still hummed quietly beneath the surface, monitoring and adapting, ready to respond if needed. Satellites, drones, and civilian technology had performed flawlessly, executing strategies that combined improvisation with premeditated contingency. The humans' calm ingenuity had turned every disadvantage into an asset. The coalition fleet had been paralyzed not through overwhelming force, but through anticipation, adaptation, and the creative application of every available resource. Across the galaxy, the ripple of humanity's revelation spread. Scholars debated in silence, generals reconsidered war plans, and spies revised intelligence reports. Every civilization recalibrated its perception of Earth. The species once laughed at, dismissed as soft and weak, was now recognized as a formidable, unpredictable force. Every alien commander understood that future encounters would require caution, preparation, and respect. Humanity had proven that patience, adaptability, and intelligence could triumph over technology, numbers, and arrogance. The junior officer who had first noticed anomalies reflected on the outcome in stunned silence. He had observed brilliance, improvisation, and calm precision, yet he could not fully grasp the scope of what humans had achieved. Entire fleets had been neutralized without destruction. Lives had been protected, cities remained intact, and the invaders had fled in fear. The humans had not sought conquest or glory, they had acted out of necessity, defending their planet with ingenuity that no alien system could predict. Legends began forming in whispers among the coalition and beyond. Stories of humans turning ordinary vehicles into tactical assets, redirecting alien weaponry, and anticipating enemy moves traveled faster than light. Every empire began to respect, fear, and, in some cases, envy the species that had quietly mastered unpredictability. Humans had become the standard against which intelligence, strategy, and ingenuity were measured. The galaxy had been silenced not by violence but by the demonstration of capability. A single planet had shown that underestimation of humanity carried consequences more devastating than any missile strike. The message was clear: humans were patient, clever, adaptive, and unimaginably resourceful. Their ingenuity transformed ordinary life into a battlefield advantage, and their calm, coordinated improvisation left even the most advanced empires powerless to intervene effectively. In the aftermath, Earth remained ordinary in appearance, yet extraordinary in capability. Humans walked streets unaware that their creativity, resilience, and resourcefulness had turned the tide of an interstellar invasion. The coalition fleets would carry the memory of this defeat into every corner of the galaxy, a warning that underestimated humans were unpredictable, unstoppable, and dangerous. The junior officer's final thought echoed across the fleet as they fled: humanity was no longer a trivial species. They had revealed their true power, not through overwhelming force, but through patience, ingenuity, and adaptability that defied comprehension. The galaxy had learned a humbling lesson. Ordinary life had become extraordinary defense, and the planet they had dismissed as weak had become the ultimate arbiter of survival and dominance. As alien transmissions carried warnings to distant civilizations, humans continued their daily lives. They had demonstrated superiority without aggression, intelligence without arrogance, and strategy without spectacle. The galaxy understood, finally, that to underestimate humans was to invite disaster. Earth had become a legend in silence, a species whose brilliance had been hidden for centuries, now revealed with devastating clarity. The coalition fleet limped back to safety, shaken, scattered, and aware that the universe had changed irrevocably. Humanity had acted decisively, creatively, and with calm authority. The species once dismissed as weak had emerged as the accidental apex predator, a civilization capable of outmaneuvering, outthinking, and outlasting empires many times its size. And the humans? They remained unaware of the legend they had created. To them, it was ordinary life, ingenuity applied naturally, and defense executed with instinctive precision. To the galaxy, it was a revelation. The underestimated had become the unchallengeable. The soft, harmless species had proven that patience, intelligence, and adaptability could silence fleets, humiliate empires, and reshape perceptions of power forever.